Interfere, encourage, wriggle, resume. Verb Power times 4。4つの動詞を紹介します。Verb という言葉自体はですね、もともとラテン語の verbum から来てます。verbum という意味はですね、単語という意味をします。他のもありますよ。例えば、proverb ことわざ。あとは verbose という形容詞もあります。わざわざ難しくてややこしい言葉を使う人。He's so verbose。あとは verbal agreement。口頭契約っていうんですね。どこの言語もそうだと思いますが、英単語のルーツをちょっとだけでも理解できれば、さらに英語が楽しくなりますよね。日本語もそうですよね。漢字とか。金八先生に教えてもらいたいな。Anywho, it's time to get stuck in with the first verb. Let's get a wriggle on. The first verb is interfere. 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 Here's the meaning in Japanese. This is a very negative verb. Perhaps the most common way of using it is to bother someone that you shouldn't be bothering. Sometimes parents or bosses are guilty of interfering. Stop interfering with my life.
It's best not to interfere.
This doesn't always have to be about a person who's interfering. This can also be about a thing which interferes with you. The construction work is interfering with his concentration. The rail strike really interfered with their travel plans. It's also used when we talk about sport or electrical signals. Interfere with play. Interference on a phone call. He tries so hard not to interfere with the lives of his children, but sometimes he can't help himself. So even the best parents in the world, if you love your children so much, well, sometimes you just can't help yourself, yeah? Doesn't that dream catcher interfere with your driving? There's no way I could drive with that swinging around. So I guess in the late 90s or the early 2000s, these dream catchers were all the rage, especially hanging from people's, like in front of their car window. Yeah, I never had one because I like a nice, completely clear view when I'm driving. So here is a fantastic real-life quote from the one and only Albert Einstein. The only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. The second verb is encourage. 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 This is what it means in Japanese. It includes the word courage, and it means to give someone courage. I use this verb a lot when I'm writing biannual report cards for the children in our school. I often use expressions like these. I've been encouraging him to speak in a louder voice. I always encourage her to use longer sentences. The main meaning here is to be like a cheerleader, in a sense, to help them improve their skills. If you're in a position of leadership, you probably do this kind of thing every day. It's also used similarly to the verb recommend, but encourage sounds softer and non-confrontational. You know, not so aggressive. All parents are encouraged to attend the online orientation session. We encourage you to accept our proposal. So instead of using expressions like you should, you have to, you must. I encourage you to sounds altogether more positive. I always encourage English learners to record their own voice and analyze how it sounds, but nobody does it. So I think that's one of the best ways to improve your English is, just get your phone. Most phones have a voice recorder in them. Record something and play it back and listen. Don't be shy. It's a really good learning experience. Due to the number of accidents, bicycle riders are being encouraged by the government to wear a helmet. So the government are not actually making like a strict law, they're just kind of encouraging people to wear a helmet for safety. We'll see how that one pans out. Let's have a real life quote from the Australian model and business person Miranda Kerr. I want to encourage women to embrace their own uniqueness. Because just like a rose is beautiful, so is a sunflower, and so is a peony. I mean, all flowers are beautiful in their own way, and that's like women too. I try not to interfere with the boys, when they're trying their best. But there's times when enough is enough, Listen, you don't hold the hammer here, you hold it here to get enough leverage. Jeez. So I'm not interfering with the boys, I'm actually encouraging them. Yes, that's right. That's my mantra. I don't want to interfere. I want to encourage them to be the best that they can be. Yes, I'm actually a very warm and caring person, Yeah. Listen, I told you to hold it. Oh, for God's sake. The third verb is wriggle. 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 What does it mean in Japanese? What an amazing verb, but a tough one to explain. Probably the best way to picture wriggle is to think of, a snake or a worm or an eel. The way they move around and wriggle all over the place. We often use it for kids and animals as they're the ones who are usually doing all the wriggling. Stop wriggling! I'm trying to do your hair. My dog wriggles all over the place after a bath. Wriggle can also be used to get out of a difficult situation. Wriggle out of having to go to a stressful meeting. There's also another interesting expression, wriggle room or room to wriggle. This can be like for a plan or an actual physical thing. It's also called wiggle room. By the way, have you ever heard of the Wiggles? They're super famous children's entertainers from Australia. When I pulled the giant eel out of the water, it wriggled all over the boat and made everyone scream. So I'm sure you can picture that, a huge big eel, and it's like wriggling all over the deck of the boat and everyone's going, wow! It's wriggling. The pervert grabbed the woman from behind, but she managed to wriggle free and call the cops. So when someone's like holding someone, like even in sport, if they can wriggle out of it, they can escape, to wriggle free from something. Let's have a quote from Stephen King, the celebrated author who wrote The Shining, The Green Mile, and It. But even the craziest idea can work its way into your mind, and if you're lonely and grief-stricken and someone keeps harping on it, it can wriggle in there like a worm and lay its eggs, and pretty soon your whole brain is squirming with maggots. Next up, we've got resume. 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 In Japanese, you'd say, so when you have RE at the beginning of a word, in most cases, it means to do something again or to go back to doing something. Let's have a look-see at some. Review. Look over it again. Repeat. Say or do it again. Recover. Get it back again. Recap. Go over it again. Remake. Make it again. Reboot. Boot it up again. Don't get confused with resume, which is a French word which has been adopted into English. It means a CV, also known as a curriculum vitae. We often use the word resume for sporting events, meetings, activities, work, machines. We hear it all the time at the Wimbledon Tennis Championship every summer in the UK.
Play will resume after the rain subsides.
Rescue attempts resumed at first light with the help of a helicopter after conditions eased. So when we're talking about like a rescue situation, when they stop because of the weather or because it's too dangerous and then they start again, we often hear the verb resume being used. The midfielder had resumed training last month but has failed to get over a knee injury. We use it often when we're talking about people coming back from an injury in sport, to resume training or to resume play. Here's a real-life quote from a man who's been a real inspiration to me. He's an author, a humorist, a singer, a radio personality, and a voice actor. He is Garrison Keillor. I want to resume the life of a shy person. Get this, I was out on patrol last night. What did I see? Oh, you're never going to believe this. I was walking down the street and I looks up and I saw a little pair of legs dangling out of an upstairs window. There was a burglar. The burglar was stuck and he couldn't get out. He's a bit of a big boy, so he was wriggling and wriggling to try and get free, but he was stuck. So I shout, "Hey you, what are you doing?" So the guy who was with him, his accomplice, he took one look at me and he was right down the street. He was like a bat out of hell. So eventually he wriggles and he wriggles and he manages to get free and he drops to the ground, boof! And I'm straight over there. I put him in the handcuffs and I arrest him for breaking and entering. Job well done. So he's back in the cell right now, just over there. Ah, what a night. Anyway, that's my tea break over. Time to resume my duties. It's homework time. Okay, please make a sentence using the following words: career, interfere, family life. Okay, so put your beautiful sentences down in the comments below and I'll check them as soon as I have time. If you've never had a bash at the homework, please give it a try. It's a great way to know each other and a great way to practice English too. Okay, I look forward to hearing from you. Best of luck.